Good morning, my name is Danny Shutt. This is an hour-long slow vinyasa flow, and the theme is designed to open the heart space and work a little bit on the heart chakra. I do apologize for the kitten. I'm afraid I don't have the ability to put her somewhere separate, so we may have a visitor for some of the sequence, so I do apologize. If you'd like to grab any props that you may have available to you, if you don't have a bolster, you can use pillows, blankets, anything to give you a little bit of support in some of the poses that you might need. I have a knee support because I have extremely knobbly knees. You can go ahead and take some blocks. If you don't have yoga blocks accessible to you, books are a great alternative. And you can also have a blanket. Maybe you might want to cover yourself over in the final Shavasana pose at the end of the class. And then I invite you to come to a seat with your legs out in front of you, bent at the knees. And we're not going to start in a seated position today. I invite you to start the class with me in a Supta Baddha Konasana. So bring the soles of your feet together, creating a lovely diamond shape with your legs here. Bring in the bolster and tuck it just below your pelvis. And then gently roll back vertebra by vertebra, coming down to rest on your bolster. And again, if you don't have a bolster, any pillows or cushions are a great alternative. Maybe shut down the eyes. And just taking a moment to relax here. I invite you to bring your left hand to your heart and your right hand to your belly. Maybe you'd like to start doing a quick body scan, checking in with your body today. Notice how you're feeling. Trying to do this without any judgment, but just noticing. Do you have any areas of tension? Are you fully relaxed? Are there any areas that you'd maybe like to create a little bit of space today? Then maybe starting to check in with the breath. Just noticing again, without any judgments, how is the breath feeling today? Noticing your own breath. Is it shallow or deep? And then when you're ready, maybe trying to extend the belly as you breathe in through the nose. And as you exhale, exhale out through the nose, gently pulling that navel back to the spine. So go ahead here and connect to your breath. Feeling the rise of the belly with your inhale and the fall of your belly with the exhale. With the inhale, starting with the belly, inhale deeply, rising up through the chest, expanding fully, and then exhaling out through the nose. I'd like you to take a moment to think of something that you hold really dearly in your life, something that you really cherish and love, something that you're very fond of. This could be a person or a pet or a plant. Maybe it's even your favorite handbag. Anything that brings you joy, something that makes you feel happy. And I want you to think about this person, plant, pet, anything, whatever it might be. And I want you to notice where you feel that sensation in your body. Is it in your chest? Is it in your belly? Does it give you a warm sensation? Does it create some feeling in your mouth, in your head? And really focus on the joy that this thing or person brings you. Maybe it's a place. And with all that joy and love that you're feeling when you think about this, I want you to go ahead and I want you to apply that same feeling to yourself. Feeling all that warmth and love maybe, and applying it to yourself. And notice how that makes you feel. That feeling changed. And maybe you'd like to go ahead and set an intention for today's class. Gently inhale and exhale out through the mouth. Gently sighing it out. Deep cleansing breath there. Bring your hands down to the mat, pushing up through the elbows, gently vertebra by vertebra. Gently pushing the knees into center, giving them some support, removing that bolster from behind you. And then I'd like you to swing your legs round to one side, whichever side's comfortable for you, coming into a tabletop position. Making sure that your hips are stacked over your knees and your shoulders are stacked over your wrists. And we're going to take a couple of rounds of cat-cow here. So as we go into cow, we're going to dip our bellies, shining up through the crown of our head. And then we round into cat, vertebra by vertebra, pulling the navel to spine. This is cat. And as we inhale, we come up to cow, navel to spine. Sorry, dipping the belly, raising the chin. And as we exhale, coming in to cat. And I'd like you to go ahead here and follow your own breath here. Maybe taking 3 rounds of cat-cow as we go. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Following your own breath. And with your next inhale, coming back through center, neutral spine, we're going to go ahead and take our left arm and thread it underneath our right, taking a thread the needle pose. And as we thread that arm through, we're going to drop our left shoulder down to the mat, taking our chin down, cheek down to the mat. Maybe you want to bring a block here and bring the mat a little bit closer to you, resting your head on the block or the mat. Remembering that my cues to you today are merely suggestions And at any point, taking whatever movement feels good and serves your body today. Connecting with the breath here. You can raise your right arm and go ahead and take a bind if this movement feels good for you today, grabbing your inner left thigh. Inhale, exhale. As we inhale, we're going to press our right hand back down to the mat, pushing up back into a neutral tabletop. Inhale, and as we exhale, thread the right arm through underneath the left. You can leave your hand exactly where it is. You can drop the elbow down in front of you. Or option number 3, take a bind, reaching for that right inner thigh with your left hand. Remembering that this is your practice today. Connecting with the breath here. And release the bind if you took it. Pressing back up through center, coming into a neutral tabletop. We're then going to drop down to our bellies. Taking our arms out by the side. We're going to raise our left foot and gently bring our left hand next to us, maybe coming up onto the fingertips. And then we're gently going to roll and open our left hip, bringing the left foot behind us. You can stay here. Option number 2, you can take that arm behind you, increasing maybe the stretch that you might feel through your shoulders and your heart space here. Taking a couple of breaths here. And rolling back over onto our bellies slowly. And we're going to repeat that on the other side. So bringing those right hands into a cactus next to us, onto our fingertips, raising our right foot, pushing over onto our left side. You can always, if you want, again, bring a block underneath that cheek if you need to bring the mat a little bit closer to you. And relaxing here. You can take that right arm, option number 2, behind you. Or you can stay exactly where you are. And releasing, coming back onto your belly. Pushing back up into a tabletop, onto our knees. Again, making sure that our hips and shoulders are stacked. And then we're going to release our hip bones down to our heels, coming into a child's pose. You can take your knees apart or have them close together. Keeping our hands stretched out in front of us, bringing our third eye down to the mat. Child's pose. And remembering that anytime today when you feel that you maybe need to rest or reset, child's pose is a great place to come. Connecting with the breath here. We're going to come back up into a tabletop. And we're going to take a puppy pose. So making sure that we keep our knees stacked over our hips stacked over our knees, sorry. We're going to walk our hands out to the front. Maybe this is as far as you go today. Dropping our heart. Dropping our heart down towards the mat. Melting that heart space down. Maybe you're able to reach the mat. If you're not and you need some support, bring those blocks in. You can support your chin, your head with the block, making sure that you keep your hips stacked over your knees. And when you're ready, gently walk those arms in a little bit closer towards you, coming back up, tucking our toes. Exhale, push back into your downward facing dog. Taking a moment here to notice how you're feeling. Maybe you come up onto your tippy toes. Maybe you'd like to bend through each knee, inviting some movement to your down dog first. Looking up under each armpit. And then just finding some stillness. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, we're going to step our right foot forward between our hands to the top of the mat. Dropping our back heel down 45 degrees to the back of the mat. Making sure that we keep our front knee stacked over our ankle. We're going to raise up into warrior one. Keeping the leg strong here, engaging the glutes, making sure that you're not leaning forward, stacking your shoulders over your hips, nice straight line with the spine. Rooting down through the feet. Connect to the breath here. Lowering our hands, down to behind us, clasping our hands together. If not, you can just take them to the backs of your hips. Interlacing your fingers here, opening up through the chest, raising your heart space, looking forward. Inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to drop our chest down towards our right thigh and take a humble warrior. Embracing any shakes that we may have here, staying strong, making sure that we don't lean forward on this knee, keeping this knee stacked over the ankle, humble warrior. Inhale, exhale. And inhale, coming back up through center. We're going to step our back foot to the top of the mat, coming into Tadasana. Inhale, reaching up with the arms. Exhale, dropping all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift, bringing the hands to your shins. And exhale, forward fold. You may like to take a gentle bend in the knees here. Maybe you'd like to hold on to opposite elbows with your hands. Maybe you'd like to just have a little shake here, move, rock side to side. Dropping those arms down, hands down to the mat. Inhale, root to rise, bringing our hands all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, raising the arms up to the sky. And with the next exhale, we're going to cactus our arms, taking a gentle back bend here. Inhale, palms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to plant our hands at the top of the mat. Now stepping back with our right foot into our warrior one. So making sure that the back foot, the right foot, is firmly planted on the ground, 45 degrees to the back of the mat, making sure that the distance between your legs is just right for you. Keeping this knee stacked, left knee stacked over the right ankle. Inhale, raising up, warrior one. Maybe you would like to keep your hands at heart center. Maybe you'd like to keep them up above you. Opening up through that chest. Legs firm, legs strong. And then we're going to go ahead and take a humble warrior, dropping our arms down behind us, interlacing our fingers. Inhale, pushing out through the chest. And as we exhale, folding forward, taking our humble warrior. Inhale, release back through center. Exhale, dropping our hands down to the mat, pivoting our back foot so that it's now facing forward. And we're going to step back into our downward facing dog. Noticing how this feels different from the first one. And connecting to the breath here. Remembering at any point you can take a child's pose. And on our next inhale, we're going to raise our right leg up to the sky, pointing our toes, grounding through all of our fingertips. Inhale, exhale, stepping forward with the right foot between our hands. Keeping our left heel raised. Inhale, coming up into crescent lunge. Again, remembering to keep that right knee stacked over the front ankle. Maybe you just need to alter your stance a little bit if your legs are too far apart. Keeping those glutes engaged. Crescent lunge. Then we're going to cartwheel our arms open. And as we do that, dropping our foot, our heel down, taking a warrior one. Again, right knee stacked over the ankle. Chest open. Warrior one. And breathing here. Making sure that our back foot is parallel to the back of the mat. Inhale, flipping the palm, reverse warrior, dropping our left hand down to our thigh. And breathe here. Coming back through center into warrior two. Now I'm going to invite you to straighten this front leg. Tick-tocking our hips forward and then rolling open, cartwheeling open, slowly bringing this hand down to the right ankle here. You can take a block for some support here if you'd like to bring the ground a little bit closer to you, opening up through this left shoulder. And maybe you'd like to go ahead and take a look at your left fingertips here. Inhale and exhale. In through the nose, out through the nose. And we're going to release, maybe put that block to one side if you were using a block. Pivoting our back foot, facing forward into a crescent lunge, planting our hands, the top of the mat, pushing back with our right foot into downwards facing dog. And don't forget to breathe. Rooting through each of our fingertips. Again, inviting any movement that you'd like into your downwards facing dog. Making sure that you're pushing your chest towards your thighs. And when you're ready with your next inhale, go ahead and take your left leg up. Raise your left leg, step it forward, making sure that our back heel is raised, rising up. Inhale, crescent lunge, exhale. Connect to the breath here. Sorry, just got to move my cat. Crescent lunge. Making sure that our front knee is stacked over our front ankle. Maybe your hands are at heart center. Inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to open, cartwheeling our arms open into warrior two, dropping our back foot so that it's parallel to the back of the mat. Opening through the chest, not collapsing, navel to spine, warrior two. Flipping the palm, coming into a reverse warrior, dropping our right hand back and breathing here. Then we're going to go ahead and straighten our front leg. Just going to turn this way. Straighten our front leg, taking our shoulders a little bit forward, hinging from the hips. And then rolling down, opening, cartwheeling those arms into a triangle pose, Trikonasana. Maybe you'd like to go ahead and reach up, look up through those fingertips. Going to turn back round. And coming back through center into warrior two. Cartwheeling our hands, pivoting on our back foot so that we're hips are neutral to the top of the mat. Dropping our hands down so that they frame our front foot, pushing back through downwards facing dog. And let's just take a moment here now to drop down to our knees, untuck our toes, and just take a child's pose. I invite you to take a deep cleansing breath with me here. So whilst in child's pose, breathe in through your nose and then sigh it out through your mouth. From our child's pose, gently rise up, bringing those hands closer to you, coming into a tabletop, tucking those toes. I'm really sorry, I have to move my cat. Pushing up into a downwards facing dog. And connecting with the breath here. On your next inhale, go ahead and raise your right foot to the sky, pointing your toes, remembering to push through, keeping planted, grounded through this right arm. And as you exhale, planting your foot down between your hands, the top of the mat. And then we're going to go ahead and drop our back knee, untuck our toes, raising our hands up to the sky, low lunge. Again, making sure that our front knee is stacked over our front ankle. Maybe your hands are at heart center. Maybe they're raised up above you. And then we're going to go ahead and drop our left hand down to the mat, raising our right hand to the sky, taking a twist here, opening up through that shoulder, looking up to our fingertips, and breathe here. Embracing any wobbles that you may have. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, coming back through center, raising our arms. Exhale. Inhale, pull our crown up to the sky, and as we exhale, Cactus the arms back. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands down, planted firmly on the mat, tucking our back toes, raising our back knee, pushing back into a downward facing dog. And when you're ready, we're going to inhale, taking our left leg to the sky. Exhale, stepping our foot forward, dropping our back knee, untucking our toes, raising our palms up to the sky, low lunge. Hips facing forward in a neutral position. Connecting to the breath here. Find your center, find your balance. Embracing any wobbles or shakes that you may have. Maybe you bring your hands down to heart center. Then we're going to drop our right hand down next to our left foot, raising up with our left arm, taking a twist. Looking up to the sky. Maybe focusing on one point to help you keep your balance. And then lowering our hand back down, tucking our toes, raising our knee, pushing back into a downwards facing dog. Taking a moment here. We're going to gently walk our feet up to the top of the mat, coming back into a forward fold. Inhale, raising up vertebra by vertebra, mountain pose. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, palms up to the sky. Exhale, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, following your breath. Halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to plant our hands firmly on the mat. Inhale, and as we exhale, step back to plank. Making sure that our shoulders are stacked here over our wrists. Maybe you want to come forward onto your toes. We're going to take a chaturanga here. You can drop down to your knees, untuck your toes, keeping the elbows tucked in by your sides. We're going to gently lower down, bending at the elbows, leading with our chest, dropping our belly down, taking any movement that gets us comfortable here, and pushing up into baby cobra. Inhale, exhale, release. We're going to take a couple of baby cobras here. So inhale, gently raising the chin and the chest, keeping these elbows tucked in beside you. Exhale, lower down to the mat. And just following your own breath here, just continue. Maybe for 2 or 3 more times, taking a baby cobra. And exhale, come to crocodile pose, planting the hands below the forehead and just taking a moment here to relax. Checking in with the body. Are we connected to the breath? Releasing the hands, planting them back beside us, below our shoulders, tucking the toes, pushing back up into a tabletop, rolling straight up into a downwards facing dog. Can you sink a little bit deeper with those heels today? Inviting any movement here that feels good for your down dog. Or maybe you'd like to just take a moment in child's pose. We're going to drop down to our knees now. Untucking our toes. Coming into a child's pose. Rolling forward onto our bellies. We're going to take our arms into a cactus shape beside us. Coming up onto our fingertips. And we're going to take a couple of rounds of cobra here with wide arms. So exactly as we did before, inhale, rise, bending through that upper back there, and exhale down to the floor. So just take a couple of rounds here, following your own breath, rooting strongly through those fingertips. And then release. We're going to bring our hands out in front of us, keeping our elbows down, pushing up, grounding through our forearms here. So the elbows should be stacked underneath the shoulders right now with the hands out in front of us, raising our crown up to the sky. Maybe you have just a gentle raise in your chin here. Taking a Sphinx pose, feeling that back bend. We're going to hold this here. So connecting with the breath. Don't forget to breathe. Very important. Inhale, and with your next exhale, release. Coming back up into a tabletop position, we're going to push up onto our knees, bringing our knees forward, and then gently raising up, keeping the toes tucked, raising up so that we're standing on our knees here. Take a moment here. I'm going to give you a couple of options here for camel pose. I would advise not to take camel pose if you have any lower back problems, making sure that you feel adequately warmed up through the shoulders and the chest to take the full pose today. But first of all, inhale, take the arms up to the sky, exhale, hands down to the side. Following your breath, inhale, exhale, hands down to the side. With the next inhale, take the hands up, and as you exhale, cactus those arms open, melting the heart forward, opening up through those shoulders. And hold it here. Connect to the breath. Inhale, palms to the sky, exhale, hands down by your side. And maybe that's as far as you go today. And if so, that's perfectly fine. That was option number one. Option number two, inhale, arms up to the sky. And as you exhale, maybe you're going to bring your hands to your hips, the backs of your hips here, rolling your elbows towards each other, opening through the shoulders, pulling your shoulder blades back towards each other, having a gentle lift with your chin, shining your heart forward. And don't forget to breathe here. It's very easy for us to hold our breaths when we reach these poses, but we must remember to connect to our breath. Inhale, and then exhale, release, bringing the hands down by your sides. So that's option number 2. Maybe that's as far as you go today, and that's also perfectly fine. Option number 3, we're going to roll our shoulders open, shining our heart forward, taking our palms of our hands to our sacral region, back of our hips here. Rolling our elbows back, shining our heart forward. And if camel is in your pose, you can go ahead here and reach back, remembering not to bend from your lower spine, your lumbar spine, but bending from the thoracic spine. Go ahead, reaching for your heels. Maybe you'd like to go ahead and drop the neck back, connecting to the breath here. When you're ready, gently release, coming back through center. Dropping your hips down to your knees. Just take a moment. So we're in a seated position now on our mat. And we're going to take a rabbit pose as a counter pose to that back bend that we've just completed. So I invite you to gently drop your head down to the mat, your forehead down to the mat, raising your hips up. And then with your hands, you can go ahead. Once you've got your balance, you can take your hands down towards your feet. Maybe you'd like to just give yourself some support with your hands and bring your head a little bit closer to your knees. Breathing through the back body here. Feeling that counter pose to camel of what we've just taken. Maybe you don't come up onto your forehead. Maybe you just stay in a seated position with your head to the mat, your forehead to the mat, sorry. Taking your palms facing the sky, reaching back towards your toes. And just taking a moment here. Inhale, exhale, release. Raising the spine up long. Inhale your arms up to the sky. Exhale, cactus those arms. Inhale, palms up to the sky. And exhale, child's pose. I invite you to now roll onto your belly. Finding a comfortable position. Bringing your hands maybe level with your head, giving yourself some support. Rising up so that our elbows are below our shoulders. We're then going to bend our knees so that our feet are facing the sky. Sphinx pose, raised legs, dropping down, forehead to the mat. Maybe you'd like to reach back with both of your hands. And I'm going to give you a couple of options here for bow pose. So we're going to inhale. And as we inhale, we're going to raise our shoulders up, Gently pushing up, engaging our glutes, pushing up with our toes, reaching back with our fingertips. A nice gap between our chin and our chest, looking forward. And exhale, release. Well, maybe this is as far as you go today. And if so, that's perfectly fine. Bringing our knees bent, making sure that our feet aren't open, that our knees are no more than hip distance apart. And then we're gently going to raise up with our shoulders, pushing our pelvis into the mat. And maybe we gently reach back for our feet. And as we do so, we're going to raise our knees, pushing forward with our chest so that we almost can rock on our pelvic bones. Holding here, making sure that our knees are not going out to the side of the mat. Pushing our glutes together, raising, engaging our quads, looking forward, and exhale, release. Connecting with the breath here. We're going to take one more round of bow pose. Maybe you just want to raise your chin and push back with your arms. Maybe you want to leave your hands down completely. Maybe you want to just rest your hands in front of you and enjoy crocodile. But for our last round of bow, taking whichever option serves you today. Rolling our shoulders back, pushing back with our chest, engaging the glutes, bending the knees, reaching for our feet, trying to hold on to our ankles rather than the tops of our feet, pushing our feet up to the sky, bow pose. And then exhale, release. Planting our hands firmly on the mat, pushing back into a child's pose, taking a final counter pose here today. Breathing into the back body. Expanding that chest. Filling up with space. Inhale through the nose and exhale, sigh it gently out through the mouth. I invite you to come to a seated position, taking your feet out in front of you. And just as a bit of a counter pose to bow pose, we're going to lower our backs down to the mats, keeping our knees raised, planting our hands firmly on the mat beside us. Just taking whatever movement it is to get your pelvis comfortable onto the mat here. Having a nice straight spine here. Walking your heels back towards your hips. And then we're gently going to push up with our pelvis, raising our pelvis to the sky into a bridge pose. Inhale, push up. You may be on your tiptoes. You may have your heels firmly planted. Maybe you'd like to create a little bit of a cushion with yourself, with your shoulder blades, just by raising the shoulder and tucking them underneath you. Maybe you'd like to go ahead and take a bind with your arms below you, interlacing your fingers, engaging your glutes, making sure that your knees aren't falling out to the side of the mat. And breathe here. Release the hands. and gently lower down to the mat. And I'd like you to give yourself a little bit of a hug here, bringing the knees into the chest, rocking from side to side. Maybe rolling out that spine, noticing where that you've created any space today. Taking your 2 fingers, index finger, second finger, and wrapping them around your big toes. We're going to take a happy baby here. Again, finding any movement that serves you today in your happy baby. Maybe you want to rock from side to side. Maybe you want to play with straightening your legs. Finding whatever movements feel good for you today. Rolling your hips, bringing your feet in towards you. Just giving a gentle stretch to those hips. Dropping our feet back down to the mat, pushing back up into a seated position. We're just going to keep our feet firmly planted on the floor and gently just windscreen wiper our knees to each side, just rolling through those hips again. Beautiful. Coming maybe into a seated position, legs crossed in front of you. We're just going to take a couple of gentle twists here. So we're going to bring our left hand over to our right knee. Inhale, raising your right hand up to the sky, and with your exhale, just gently twist open. Just for a gentle stretch through our shoulders, looking over that right shoulder there. And don't forget to breathe. Inhale, palm up to the sky, and as we exhale, taking our hands down to our knees. We're going to take our right hand to the opposite knee. Inhale, palm up to the sky, and as we exhale, gently twist open to the left. Looking over that left shoulder, seeing if you can just take it a little bit further. Inhale, coming back through center. Exhale, hands down to the mat. We're going to, with our next inhale, raise our left palm up to the sky and gently take a, the word escapes me, gently roll over to our right. Maybe you come down onto your forearm, creating a gentle stretch through our left side body. And don't collapse into this pose here. Make sure you open up through the shoulder. Maybe you'd like to actually look up to your hand to be able to create that space. Breathing into the side body here. And exhale, release. We're going to take the same movement on the opposite side now. Inhale, gently flowing over to our right side. Looking up, maybe to our fingertips. Opening up through our side body. Breathing deeply. Taking that breath to wherever we want to feel that stretch. Or wherever we feel that stretch, sorry. And exhale, release. And I'd like you to now find whatever prop that you had at the beginning of the lesson. So whether that was your pillow or your bolster, And I'd like you to come back into a Supta Baddha Konasana. So the pose that we very first started our class in today. So bringing the palms of, soles of our feet together, in a diamond position, our legs need to be in a diamond position out in front of us. Tucking our pillows, bolsters, whatever we have there, blankets, just into our sacral region there, and then rolling gently back into a Supta Baddha Konasana. Dropping the arms down beside you, palms facing up. Maybe you'd like to close off the eyes here. And I'd just like you to notice the difference in your body, maybe in your mind from when you first started this class. Have you made space? Have you released any tensions? Maybe remembering the intention that you set for today's class. Just taking a moment here, connecting to that breath again. Maybe you'd like to bring that left hand back to your heart and your right hand to your belly. Following your deep belly breathing. Remembering to always love ourselves. And remembering that method, maybe next time when we're feeling a little bit hard on ourselves, a little bit down on ourselves, for whatever reason, next time, pulling on those inner resources that we have. So those things I asked you to think about at the beginning of the lesson, maybe it was a pet, a plant, a person, a place. Trying to apply that love, compassion, and joy that we have for those things and applying it to ourselves. And then when you're ready, I'd like you to gently roll up, bringing your feet to the mat, removing whatever props that you had there next to you, and gently lowering down into your final Shavasana pose. So you're going to extend your legs out long in front of you, gently roll down vertebra by vertebra at a time. Taking any final movements and adjustments that you need to get yourself just a little bit more comfortable. Maybe you'd like to, again, stack those shoulder blades, tuck them underneath you, creating almost like a little bit of a pillow for yourself. Maybe gently just rolling your head out side to side. Any final twitches and movements that you need to make. Palms facing up, resting in your Shavasana pose. Maybe you want to take your blanket and cover you for some warmth. Maybe you'd like to close down the eyes here. Noticing, how does your breath feel? Has it changed from the start of the class to now? Where have you created space? Gently allowing your breath to return to its normal state, relaxing every inch of your body here. I invite you at this moment in time to just repeat to yourself 3 times, I love you, I love you, I love you. Remembering how important we are ourselves and how important it is to apply loving kindness and some self-compassion to ourselves. And when we're filled with love and joy for ourselves, this will bubble over into our everyday life, into our friendships, into our relationships. Remembering to draw on those inner resources that we have, that we all visualized at the beginning of the lesson. Maybe you like to make a mental note of these things. Maybe you want to write them down in your diary or your purse. Maybe have some pictures of these things. And when you have some of those moments where you're feeling a little bit down, a little bit hard on yourself, you can pull out those pictures, visualize those things, those people, whatever it may be, and apply some of that love, joy, and compassion that we hold for those things to ourselves. Maybe you'd like to stay here in your Shavasana pose, but if the rest of your day is calling you, I invite you to firstly invite a little bit of movement back into your fingertips, into your toes. Maybe you want to gently pull your knees into your chest, giving yourself another lovely heartfelt hug. Feet planted on the mat. I'd like you to go ahead, keeping your eyes closed if it's possible, bringing your hands into a prayer position and then gently putting them below one of your cheeks, creating a lovely little pillow for yourself, rolling onto one side into a fetal position, knees bent, palms underneath your cheek. Taking a moment here. And then gently with one of your hands, pushing yourself up to a seated position, however that may be comfortable for you. Keeping your eyes closed or taking a soft, gentle gaze in front of you. Maybe you want to sit on a, the word escapes me. Sitting on a block, maybe on a blanket, maybe on your bolster, finding a comfortable seat on your mat. Rolling your shoulders forward. Bringing your hands to heart center. And I'd just like to thank you today for joining me. Thank yourself for showing up to the mat today. Namaste. Thank you very much.